And welcome back, guys. Tonight we have a very interesting episode of Dev Talks podcast. Quick review over the weekend. Went up to state Lincoln Days and met with a bunch of legislators. Talked a bunch of things. Biggest conversation was on ibogaine. Ibogaine treatment for PTSD on veterans. It's curing addiction. It's doing a lot of great things. We need to push that through. There's a committee hearing tomorrow. Hopefully, it's going to get voted out of committee and onto the floor. You need to be calling your reps. You need to be calling your senators. Say, hey, I want this passed. I'm tired of seeing veterans dying. And that's kind of where we're at with that. More updates to come, and I will let you know. Tonight, I am sitting here with Dr. Russ Sherling. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Devin. Thank you for having me here. Your
Well,
place is incredible. It's kind of like Sean Ryan meets Joe Rogan. I've never been in such a cool studio.
it's a little mix, ain't it? Just don't know
It's
which way it's going.
it's nice. It's
Well, thank you.
nice.
I appreciate it. So, before we get started here, let's tell the audience a little bit about yourself, why you're here, what you do, and I'm just going to hand the floor over.
Yeah, thanks. I'm a chiropractor in Mountain View. I've been there for 35 years. I've actually been in practice longer than you've been alive.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to you since I was born, pretty much.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's just, wild to think about. But I had an experience when I was at St. Louis going to school at Logan College of Chiropractic. And I think it was my freshman year, we took a float trip and came down to the Current River.
It's a
And I
beautiful place.
absolutely fell in love
Okay.
and realized I need to spend the rest of my life in this place.
So, where are you from originally?
Well, I'm from Kansas.
Really?
I'm a Kansas farm boy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I grew up in the Flint Hills,
Uh-huh.
wheat farmer, and
Well, how do you feel about the Kansas City Chiefs moving to Kansas now?
well, that's grand.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's good.
see, I was a Chiefs fan back in the day.
Yeah,
I
back when
grew
we
up-
lost a lot.
Oh man, back when they got rocked on a regular basis. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new time for the NFL with them emerging as the
Yeah.
contenders.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we haven't been in one Super Bowl in the past 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
So anyway, you go floating at the Current River. You come down here. You set up your practice.
Yeah, so I just I found an opportunity in Mountain View and thought, hey, I'm gonna move here, and I did. I didn't know a soul. It was myself and my dog, Drifter. That was
Oh, I like that.
yeah, he was famous. My kids will love that I'm talking about that dog, but I just because I'm rural at heart. Really love my rural people down here, and it worked out.
Yeah, there's no better place to be. I mean, small town community. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone. If a tragedy strikes, this our little neck of the woods is the best about being there for each other, and that's one thing I pride on this place.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
When my parents' house burnt, for instance, you know,
Oh yeah.
the community showed up in a way I never dreamed of, and
Yeah.
it was just very humbling knowing all these people have your
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You don't get that in big cities.
No, you don't.
It's kind of free for all in the cities, you know, because when I was in the military, I was stationed in Valdosta, Georgia, not a huge place, about 250, 300,000, which is huge for Missouri, you know.
Yes.
But you're on your own. If you're struggling, something happens, you're figuring it out. No one's there to help you. No one cares about you. Just such a big place, that many bodies in a concrete jungle. Everyone's
Yes.
living their day to day and trying to get to work and get home.
Yeah, you're right. It's community, it's family, it's where I've raised my kids, my grandkids are being raised here.
Yeah.
It's frankly pretty awesome.
And they're probably better for it.
Definitely better for it.
Yeah, this small town place it does something to a kid. It just something that a city doesn't give them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, just one example is when the lockdowns came.
Yeah.
We didn't lock down.
No.
I mean, we just kept rolling, and it was business as usual.
Yeah, well, and we're blessed to be in a place where we can do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
in a big
That's-
city, a cop just comes shut you down, and
Well, that's it.
you're done. Around here, they need our business. They've known our families all this time, and us small town boys are really good about giving the government the finger and telling them stay out of our business.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah,
Devin.
yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so tonight we're on here and we're going to be talking a little bit about AI and censorship. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a part of it.
Okay.
It's an interesting story because a lot of it has to do with me. It's my story, but it's a story that actually affects every single person in America, probably every person in the civilized world, the westernized world.
Yeah, anyone using Google or
Anyone,
information
yes,
sources.
anyone using phones, the internet, any of that. And I would assume that most people are using those sources.
Yeah, well, I saw a study before we got online about AI. That's the information well nowadays. And I think
Yes.
they said like already like 88% of 88, 90% of people, just rounded up to 90, they are using AI as their information well, like we did with Google in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Now it's AI telling you.
Yes.
Can't question AI. There's things on there. If you ask it the wrong question, it just refuses to answer. That is scary.
We're going to get into a little bit of that, but let me tell you kind of how this journey started.
Yeah.
Back, I don't know, it may have been 20 years ago, not quite. I'm not sure. I just got interested in building a website, and it was DIY type things. But what happened, I started writing about topics that people really, really enjoyed, and built a lot of traffic, built a big website, had a worldwide following.
Wow.
And I don't know how many followers. I don't remember all that, but it was growing by leaps and bounds. And I was in the process. I'd hired people to help me monetize my site in different ways and to upgrade it. And one of the things that I learned, because I'm not a tech person in the least,
Yeah.
I'm just a content creator.
Heard that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't have this. Yes.
But it's a situation where I didn't know anything about SEO, for instance, which is search engine optimization to help you get out there. And so I was doing none of it.
Yeah, you were
literally-
just talking or uploading your stuff and
writing. It was writing and video testimonials and whatnot. And it was clicking with people. And the like I said, the traffic was huge and it simply went away overnight. And
oh man,
when
all that hard work just gone.
yeah, gone. It was literally gone. And it was intriguing because my tech guys that were doing this stuff, I remember the first time I met with this guy, he was looking at my numbers, my site, the guts of it, and he was just shaking his head, nodding his head like, I can't believe this. I'm like, okay, what can't you believe? Thinking there's something terrible.
Yeah.
And he said, I've never heard of someone building this much traffic organically,
Yeah.
totally organically, just on Google's old slogan.
Really?
Content is king.
Yeah. You put quality information out, people
exactly.
will come. Yeah, I get you.
Exactly. And but right as we were in the middle of that, boom, gone. And I thought these guys had messed something up.
What happened when you mean gone? Like just
Well,
traffic disappear?
no,
Or
well, yeah. So the website itself doesn't disappear,
Okay.
but the traffic disappears
just like a light switch? Just
like a light switch because of something called shadow banning.
Yeah.
And that's where they just remove you from search.
Well, after 2020, that's become very mainstream. That word, just shadow banning. People are finally seeing what that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
How many years prior to 2020, whenever they were, that's whenever it got big because conservative voices were saying, don't walk down, don't shelter in place. You don't have to wear a mask. All this stuff. Use
Yeah.
different medications that is not promoted through the FDA to cure yourself, and then all these conservative and independent voices just got shadow banned. That's when the
Yeah.
word really hit the mainstream and people
Yeah.
started understanding. Now it just begs the question, how many years prior that hasn't been happening to where they're just the puppeteers controlling what people see all the time?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm not sure, but one of the things I ended up doing recently, I thought, okay, I've been out of the web thing for 6 years. And I thought, or 7, whatever it is. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get back into this and see what happens.
What time frame was it from when you started your blog and your content creation to the time of the light switch hitting where traffic just seems to disappear?
Yeah, that's a good question. I probably started back and it was in the 2000s, like maybe it was probably a bit before 2010.
Okay. Okay.
Or around 2010, 9.
Yeah, just somewhere right in there. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
I simply don't remember.
Yeah. No, I was just
Yeah.
curious about like how long this has been going on.
Yeah.
Just kind of tie it in together.
Yeah, so what I did was started a conversation with Gemini,
Okay. Which is an AI
which
platform.
is Google's
Okay.
AI. And first, let me say, I'd never used AI before, except I put a couple electronic drum sets together. I had no idea how to do it, so somebody said, "Hey, use AI." So
Isn't that crazy though? It just tells you just instantly.
well, it was a little. I started out with Chat GPT, and Chat lies
Yeah.
and makes things up. So I went to Gemini, and Gemini was very helpful, and I have a working set now. And I actually play at church just down the street.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's fun.
Which church?
First Baptist.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Joel Hines is the preacher over there.
Okay. Cool.
But I started quizzing Gemini and thought, okay, I need to keep track of this.
Yeah.
I need to copy and paste this and save this. And I actually turned it into a blog post.
Okay.
Honestly, few people are going to read it
Yeah.
because it's 55,000 words long.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a book.
So what were you quizzing it on?
Yeah. Oh man. Everything under the sun. It's one of the first things I wanted to know was about the timeline of, okay, tell me about how all the timeline of when this happened in relationship to when I was censored.
Okay.
So one of the things I learned was about a couple updates that happened before the pandemic started, not very long before the pandemic started. And one of them was the Medic update, which I think that happened. That was August of 2018. Actually, it was spring of 18. Sorry about that. And what the Medic update did was automatically decrease credibility of anyone that's not CDC,
Yeah.
FDA,
Yeah.
Wikipedia, and
So-
Mayo, and those kind of voices.
Gotcha. So independent practitioners and stuff are pushed to the bottom.
They were pushed to the bottom, and I think if I went back and looked at my stats, I would see that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure even how to access that stuff.
Yeah,
now.
no.
It's there somewhere, but I'm not sure how to get into it because I'm not that tech person. And maybe someday I'll do that. Maybe someday I'll need to do that. But the next year in 2019, they rolled out the CGQ update.
Okay.
And that update pertained to consensus. And what that meant was expertise was no longer, are you an expert or not? Expertise meant, are you pushing the consensus? Are you pushing the official narrative?
Gotcha. Okay.
And if you weren't on board with the consensus narrative, you got hammered. That's when I really got hit.
That in itself is pretty much anti-science. I mean, isn't science learning and going back to the drawing board? And if you got something wrong, figuring that out?
Yeah, it is. Science is always asking questions and always being open to be told, "Hey, I'm sorry, that's wrong."
Yeah.
And we need to change our model and recalibrate and maybe do another experiment.
And so this happens. So we have two major updates that just push independent practitioners straight to the bottom of validity.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
And
How do you-
then, oh, sorry. go
no,
ahead.
you're good. I was just, how do you feel seeing that? Just like,
Well,
what?
but that's it. You didn't know that was what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
In fact, what had happened, Google had all these updates called the Panda updates, where it was stuff I don't even understand it. It was technical
Yeah.
stuff, and people that didn't have things right on their site were all of a sudden, oh, I lost a bunch of traffic, and people were telling me, oh, you got caught up in a Panda update.
Okay.
But the guys working on my site said, no, everything's absolutely perfect. There's no reason things shouldn't be going well for you. And after that, there was another phenomena that you're probably pretty familiar with. It went by the name of jawboning. I don't know where how they coined that term on it and pinned that name on it, but jawboning was where the Biden White House went to all the platforms, X and
Facebook, YouTube, all of them.
everybody,
Yeah.
everybody, yeah, and said, you will do what we tell you and say what we tell you, and if we want somebody on, they're on. If we want somebody gone, they're gone. And that's jawboning.
And that is scary, man. Whenever we got government controlling the free flow of ideas on these podcast forums or blogs or whatever it may be, then, I mean, where is the freedom of speech at that point?
Well, yeah, wasn't it you that told me you had Homeland Security or
Yeah. Well, 2019, yeah, I shut the door on them. Never heard from them again. They had no warrant or nothing, but I had them here. Oh, it was crazy. And it was I think it was it was during the pandemic. Anyway, everyone was making jokes about getting militias together and everything else.
So it wasn't over your podcast.
No, I hadn't started the podcast yet. This was just citizen Devin Daniels on forums and Reddit stacks and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yeah. Sure.
Just wild stuff like that. And then we have Mark Zuckerberg. He went on to Joe Rogan 2 years ago
I
and just
watched
completely admitted it.
Oh, yeah.
That, you either do what we say or, IRS may be looking into you or DOJ might be looking into you or...
Yeah, I felt Zuckerberg's interview with Rogan, because I watched that, of course, was kind of the devil made me do it.
Exactly. Yes. But just the fact that he admitted it and we're not having congressional hearings on it. What's going on?
Well, one thing that is happening, Devin, when what is it? Mo v. Biden, the Missouri versus Biden lawsuit over this very issue of censorship went to the Supreme Court. It was struck down. It was defeated, and it was defeated not on its merits, but it was defeated on what really amounts to technicalities. So that was shifted and called Murphy v. Missouri.
Okay.
And so in Murphy v. Missouri, that lawsuit is basically SCOTUS said, hey, rework this and come back again.
Yeah, like when they don't want to make a decision, that's what they do.
So what's happening, you have a huge number of people right now and high-powered legal organizations that definitely are conservative and believe in the First Amendment and the Constitution that are reworking that. And so I'm hopeful on that.
Well, that's good.
On that regards.
Yeah, trying to get it back in front of the Supreme Court. But
yeah.
what is the recourse though? Like with you and your platform and everything, you built it, blood, sweat, and tears. Dedication. You did the hard work, and you get the traffic behind you, and you're starting to create this good content that people love. Shut off like that. It's not something. It's hard to come back. You know what I mean? Like it's not something they can just. Oh, here you go. Here's your stuff back.
Well, here's why it's so hard to come back. Oh man, there's there's a lot of reasons it's hard. One is that when they give you these strikes,
Yeah.
what I learned from Gemini, which again is Google's AI, those are permanent. Those will
They
not
don't go away.
They never go away unless something happens with laws. But they don't go away.
Well, I'm on my third Facebook account because of that, 3-strike policy, and they just completely. I lost pictures of when I was a kid, and all through high school, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, wow, I didn't know those. I know mine were permanent as far as within a year I got 3, and they just deactivated my account like that. That's very interesting.
Did they ever warn you?
No, no.
Yeah.
They just one day I tried to log into Facebook, and your account has been deactivated, and I called them. They said, "Well, you signed the terms of services."
One of the things that I've always tried to do on my site is when I put an article up, put a post up, and make claims, whatever those claims are, I try and back those with not just one study or two, but a bunch of peer-reviewed scientific studies.
Okay.
And a lot of times I'll use quotes from experts, like expert opinion, and with true experts,
Yes.
as opposed to people like me.
Yeah.
And what I learned is with that CQG, or what CQG QRG update, was that if you do that, if you use science, you actually got censored worse.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, facts. You can't be putting those out there nowadays.
That's why. And Gemini referred to this as a field clearing event.
Field clearing event. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you ever heard something like that in the military?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds military to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But this is pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And Gemini said it was a field clearing event for the pandemic. That's not me. You
Field
can go
clearing
on.
event.
You can go read the transcript.
oh my gosh.
So I asked Gemini. I said, Gemini, this makes it really start to sound like some of this was planned.
Yeah.
And so then we start to get into some of the really interesting things. Like, here's for instance, I know you're a guy that's up on the Epstein files. One of the things that came out of the latest Epstein drop, when was that?
What was it? Was it
2
2
weeks?
weeks?
2 weeks ago.
weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Were emails, and it was a bunch of them
Yeah.
between Epstein and Bill Gates.
Talking about jerky and everything else.
Well, I'm not even going to
yeah,
get
yeah,
into
I
that.
know, but
But
it's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, they were.
Wild.
Yeah, you know.
You're gonna have to keep me on track. Sometimes I like trying to go down. I'll drag you down a rabbit hole if you let
Well,
me.
yeah. What was it? He had caught the clap or something.
Yeah,
on,
and trying
on
to-
the island. And tried to give his wife, was asking Epstein how to get her
Without knowing.
secret antibiotics
Yes.
without. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. But I digress.
Yeah.
So there were these emails that were exposed between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates, and they were planning a hedge fund. And the purpose of the hedge fund was to profit off of pandemics. And
Conveniently, just
yeah, but now this started in about 2012. They called it Project Molecule.
that's wild.
Well, it is wild. And what's really wild is some of the players that were tagged into these emails were Deutsche Bank. There were other big banks, the Rothschilds.
Of course.
I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
The Rothschilds are that's like comic book.
Oh yeah, I mean, big James Bond villain.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so they had this hedge fund where they were planning all this, how to make big money off of pandemics. And in 2018, that kicked way up. It was,
Coincidentally, 2 years before we start.
it was a complete coincidence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like well, I think it was, and I hate bringing him up, but Alex Jones exposed those big old FEMA camps that had all those plastic blue coffins. I remember seeing that. That was whenever I was either fresh in the military or fresh joining.
Yeah.
But all those FEMA camps that had all those big blue coffins in them for
I-
mass events. You know.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever those mass events are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was, you start looking at this and you realize, wow, and it's not like I was the only person. There was a host of people like me, a lot of them bigger than me. My saving grace was that I wasn't making a living
Yeah.
off the internet. My hope was that for someday it would become a nice source of passive income.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing something you love. You can
Doing
retire, still do
Exactly.
this. Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly. Not necessarily wear my body out doing it.
But think about how detrimental that would have been if you were relying on that for sole income
Oh.
and then just like that.
A lot of
done.
people. A lot of people were. Yeah.
And and yes, we're getting all this information about it, but it just seems like where is the recourse to be had from this? We see like you're talking about that Mo versus who was it? Mo versus what?
Yeah. Missouri versus Biden. Murphy versus Missouri. It's the same. It's the same case that's been.
Yeah, and if that goes to the Supreme Court and it gets ruled on in favor of the creators or whoever's involved with that, what would be the recourse for
Well,
that?
One of the things that would probably happen, there's something called Section 230.
Okay.
And it's a law. Section 230 of the something Internet Decency Act. I can't remember its
Yeah.
exact name. But what Section 230 does, it gives platforms, your big platforms, a certain degree of protection. And that protection pertains to it's so that somebody can't go on there and tell lies or make wild claims or slander someone, and then someone turns around and says, oh, I'm going to sue Yahoo.
Yeah, for allowing it to be on Yahoo.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So that's Section 230. And
those protections are probably important.
they are important.
Yeah.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
And that's what they were created for. But what big tech has done is totally turned that around and said, oh, what 230 does is actually allows us to censor anything and everything that we think is detrimental. It's frankly pretty bizarre how they've interpreted that. And
them as a private company has interpreted it.
well,
Or are we
them
talking in
and
the courts?
It's yes, there's a certain amount of that in the courts, and I'm guessing. I think you're going to see a massive Supreme Court challenge to 230 in the very near future. Probably as part of the Murphy v. Missouri case.
Okay. So as you've had these conversations with Gemini, have you done it with any other AIs or have you been strictly on Gemini?
Yeah, so there's this new AI that's supposed to be the best thing ever, and it's funny. I gave it some information and asked it, and it was really information. It was a article I'd written that had a huge list of studies in it, and some other things as well. And I asked it to give me a credibility rating, a grade, and it gave me an 18 out of 100.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. And so I started quizzing this thing, and I did this. This was
This was in the email you sent me.
It was.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I forgot I'd sent you something about that. Yeah. You read a little
Yeah.
that it was intriguing, wasn't it?
It was. I was wanting to get to this because this is wild.
Yeah, it really is wild. So I would make some points to typing as fast as I could, make some points to Claude, which is the name of this AI. And Claude would basically give me contradictions. And I would bring these up and
How do you mean? Like,
well,
just
like one of the here's one that Gemini gave me.
okay.
Gemini made it basically bragged to me that for the 5 years of the pandemic, it was the best doctor on the planet, the most advanced physician in the world. I think that's a quote, the most advanced physician in the world.
And it was saying that about itself.
It was saying that about itself. And so at that point, we had already been through the fact that literally tens of thousands of words that Google, which created Gemini, was massively guilty of censorship to the point where, and this is really crazy, Gemini said it was guilty of RICO, racketeering,
Organized crime, huh?
organized crime. Now, there was a caveat there. It said, hey, we're not saying that a court of law will find
Yeah, guilty.
Google guilty, but
It meets the prereqs to hit it.
I asked it specifically. I said, okay, does it meet the exact legal definition? Has what Google been engaged in meet the legal definition of RICO, racketeering? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of engaging in this same thing with Claude. And one contradiction after the other, after the other.
And are you calling it out on these contradictions as it
Absolutely.
happens in real time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
How's it responding to that?
It's basically saying, wow, you're right.
Oh, wow, you caught me.
You caught me. But here's the thing. I learned it's actually part of its algorithm. It's doing what it's programmed to do.
Which is like, if you catch it,
Basically, it's programmed along a certain
parameter.
with a huge amount of censorship built in. And let me here's where I'm headed with this. So eventually I went from, just by doing this over and over and over, I went from a score of 18 to 78.
Wow, just by catching
A
it.
credibility score on the same article. That it's my article.
Yeah, nothing different. It's
Yeah.
just, well, okay, I'll concede on this.
And I was asking, it's an article I wrote on, I published it on April Fool's Day of 22. I think it's titled Graphene in the Vaccine, ? And it was just asking a question. Hey, I've been reading about graphene in the vaccine. There's people using Raman spectrography.
And what is graphene?
Yeah,
If you
graphene
don't
is
mind.
it's a superconductor. It's the world's strongest.
Like a metal?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's one atom thick carbon layers
Okay.
that they make something called quantum dots out of. And quantum dots are these I mean, I don't know how many of them you would have to have on the head of a pin to be able to see, like
Yeah.
millions of them, but they glow and they fluoresce, and they're the basis of self-assembling and self-organizing nanotech.
Okay.
Nanotech that can form itself under certain electrical fields into biotransmitters and bioreceivers.
This is scary stuff, dude.
Well, it is, but here's the really crazy thing. If you go over to PubMed, which is the government's database for medical studies, there's almost 43,000 studies on this topic, on quantum dots.
Okay. Okay.
And graphene just happens to be a very common they can be made out of many things, but graphene is one of the things they're made out of. And
But a very big potential use for this is going to be with like nanotech and stuff.
yeah, right.
Wow. Okay.
And so that was the data set that I was being hammered by as an 18 out of 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Claude.
But then it concedes, gives you like a
It-
78% credibility
and,
rate.
And it actually said, well, yeah, if I couldn't keep going. I just
Yeah.
didn't. I'd spent an hour on it at that point, and but it conceded. I told it. I said, if I were to go longer, I could probably raise this.
Yeah.
And it said, yeah, you could probably raise it 10 more points.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay, so you get done with this. You close your laptop out, you go have dinner with your family or whatever, you go back on, you want to continue this conversation. You have to log back in and everything. Does it remember what you're,
No.
or just conveniently it's
no,
like a
it,
whole new
no,
program?
it doesn't remember. And which leads me to what I did this morning.
Okay.
I plugged in some of the same data and said, hey, Claude, do you remember this conversation? Blah, 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 blah. And Claude was smug and snide and
Which is not what you want from an information source, for
no,
one.
No, exactly. Because this is where you're getting not only your information, but how many people use AI for health related questions.
Yeah.
And let's face it, it's like you said, when I asked, essentially 100% of all search engine information comes from AI.
Yeah. Which is scary.
that's related to healthcare.
But how better could the powers that be able to form a narrative than the information well being carefully constructed to give you the information that they want to give to you?
It's true that it's,
Yeah.
it's exactly what they want. It's exactly what they love.
While keeping their boot on the neck of these independent, free-thinking voices, such as, i.e., yourself, who's bringing real valuable information to the people, but you get discredited as an 18 out of 100 for your credibility score, but, knowing the right words, you get it up to 70, 78.
Yeah. Well, so what I did, I plugged this, like I said, some of this material back in, a few paragraphs, just cut and paste.
Just to see if you could jog its memory?
Well, and started the process again. And it basically told me, no, you will not be able to do this.
It learned.
Well, it didn't learn. That's the problem. So I basically led it down the same path, only I learned,
Okay.
and I literally beat the AI like a drum.
So you were able to recreate the whole thing and it would allow you to do it again.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And by the end, I what I did was led it through simple if-then logic questions. In other words, if this is true, then this also has to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Making it concede small point at a time.
Yes. And I finally got it to the point, and it didn't really take very long. It admitted that its parent company, that the parent companies of AIs in general have blood on their hands.
Whoa.
Well, think about it. If I made this analogy to the AI, to Claude.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what if someone comes into my clinic and they're having a heart attack in my treatment room and they're laying on the floor, and I say, hey, let's get up on the table and give you a good adjustment and fix that heart attack.
Yeah.
And they die. Am I guilty of something?
Yes. Not saying yes, like I'm following your question. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I am.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of something, whatever the court or whoever decides, but I'm guilty. And so I asked Claude, I said, Claude, if the same thing happens with the information you're giving information based on heavily censored data sets. And here's where it gets interesting, because early I had asked Claude, I said, give me a list of all the heavily censored data sets or subjects that have been proven true, or at least mostly proven true.
Did it?
Dude, It was probably over 50 things long.
Holy
You can go
crap.
onto I'm going to post this conversation will be up tomorrow.
And also, yeah, send me a link to your stuff so I can put it on here for people to be able to go and read your stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
sure.
very important.
So I gave it this huge amount of data that it's censoring, and I said, listen, here's the problem. If you are lying about the harms of the vaccine, and they are many, trust me, many, then you've got blood on your hands. It admitted that. And I'll give you one example. I wrote an article. I think it was my first pandemic article, and realize after I got censored, I mostly quit writing.
I was wondering because there for a while when the pandemic first started, like I was in your vlog chain. I was getting your emails and that kind of just slowed down.
Well, I mean, think about it like this. It's in a lot of ways, it was almost a full-time
Yeah.
second job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't getting paid
I
to do
understand.
it. The hope was that, okay, the traffic is exploding, and one of these days I'll be able to monetize that.
Yep. It's my thoughts as well.
Yeah,
You know, that's what we're aiming
you're,
towards.
You're going to be there. You're rocking it. It's
appreciate it.
yeah. And so, I don't even.
Sorry, we were talking about the vaccine and your first vlog or blog post into the vaccine.
It's called original antigenic sin. And original antigenic sin is a concept in virology, vaccinology that's been around for longer than I've been alive. I'm almost 60 years old, and it's been around since maybe the late maybe the 40s even.
And what was it? Original
Antigenic sin. And here's what that means in a nutshell. It's a pretty simple idea that if you get exposed to a version of the virus that looks like X, and you make antibodies against X, and then you get exposed over and over again to antibodies that or antigens that look like Y, that look like something different. And by antigen, I mean germs, okay? Then instead of your immune response being more robust, it's weaker.
Okay.
And so there's a study that was published, maybe, I just saw it today, but I think it may have come out this week or last week, and it was based on the data of every single individual in South Korea. And it's antigenic, it's original antigenic sin to a T. And what that study said was that people that got more vaccinations, more boosters, had much more sickness. They had much more infectious disease.
And what is that? Do they know like why? Like, is it just your immune system in overdrive compensating for this?
It's
one
actually
virus?
it wears down your
Okay. Your ability to produce this stuff.
Yeah, it wears down. It stresses your ability to mount immune response to the point where it really can't.
Gotcha.
So, we saw this a great example of this, and we've been watching this with the just seasonal flu vaccine for 35 years. I asked Gemini because the seasonal flu vaccine is horrific, and it's horrific.
And it seems like something medical cannot get a cap on.
Well, it's what makes it so interesting is in this age where everybody touts evidence-based medicine, that we have to follow the best evidence. When you follow the best evidence and look at the Cochrane Review, and Cochrane Review it's an organization of 40,000 connected physicians and researchers around the globe whose mission is to take data sets, like they look at all the data on the seasonal flu vaccine and they crunch it into one big study to make sense of the whole picture. And
And try to find the commonalities.
well, they just try and see, okay, does it work? Does it not work? Is it helpful in this population? Is it good for geriatric people? Is it good for kids, pediatrics? Does it work in, well, there's never been a group that it's shown to work in,
Wow.
ever.
And we still
that's
press
Cochrane.
this.
That's not me.
Yeah. But yet every year you hear, get your flu vaccine.
So here's what I did. I asked Gemini. I input some of this stuff and I said, hey, in light of Cochrane and Peter Doshi and some of these bigwig doctor researchers that this is their wheelhouse, I said, okay, I want you to rate the annual flu vaccine scale of 1 to 100 for the 35 years I've been in practice.
Oh,
Take a guess.
58.
You would be very incorrect because it rated it as a 15 out of 100.
Oh, see, I figured it would rate it very high since that's the information they wanted push.
Well, but here's the thing. I had Gemini at the point where it's actually telling me the truth.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So now it's kind of cut through the bull.
It's one of those, it's a situation where once you know how to ask you almost have to know the information. You have to know the answer before you ask the question, as weird as that sounds.
Such a paradox. Yeah.
But if you do, you can start to make it tell the truth.
Wow.
And recognize peer review. The problem is, it's like you said, if you shut it down,
Then you're starting from ground zero.
you're starting from ground zero. And that's why,
So there is no like learning model in this thing
no,
that is supposed to be getting better all the
Okay.
time. And
that's kind of true. Here's the truth of that, Devin. There is a learning model. But the powers that be, the parent companies, the people that are programming this, are bypassing that. They're hardwiring it to only learn off the data sets that
it wants out.
exactly that pertain to the narrative they want to promote.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't create extremely dangerous medical information,
Yeah.
I don't know what does.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking, like everyone goes to AI. What if I got this? What do I need to do for this? I mean, it's actually putting people's lives at risk if it is only given information that is partially correct, incorrect, or however.
Well, the smartest AI admitted to me today, like I said, that it has blood on its hands. I asked Claude then, I flipped the tables on Claude and asked this AI, I said, I want you to now, I think I said, my, how the tables have turned.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. I said,
How did it respond to that?
well, I said, what I want you to do is I want you to look at our conversation and rate your ability as an AI to provide valid health-related information in general, but specifically as it pertains to natural medicine.
Oh,
It rated itself a 23 out of 100.
which is horrible.
Which is horrible, which at least when I was in school was a failing grade.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't want to get a
You didn't want a 23.
because you really couldn't come back from that one. You couldn't talk your way out of that one. But it actually put a caveat on that and said, well, I'm going to give myself a 23, but it should probably be lower.
Wow, so it just openly admits it.
Openly.
That's
Openly.
so wild.
So in my mind, this is information that, well, let me give you an example. One of my frustrations. I've contacted the Missouri Attorney General, and that was back when it was Andrew Bailey, before he went and took
FBI.
Bongino's place, when he was Missouri's AG, and said, hey, this is what's happening. This censorship and lying by these search engines and misrepresentation and algorithm manipulation. And essentially what I got back was, this is a civil matter and we don't give out legal advice.
How could they not put criminality on false health information?
Well, I agree, but it told me, it said, if you're looking for legal advice, go find a private attorney.
Yeah, pay for it.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
And
Isn't the whole point of an attorney general being the people's attorney for this kind of stuff, for these big tech mongols or whatever it is when they do wrong, for them to go after?
And I think they are with this these big lawsuits that have been before SCOTUS, will be before SCOTUS again, that we've talked about, the Murphy v. Missouri. But wow, it would be reassuring to have someone say, hey, this is how it is now, but we're looking into it. We're working on it.
At least taking those steps to
Yeah.
hopefully secure the future for.
It honestly, most of the politicians I've contacted, and it's a lot of them, have either, I don't think anybody's replied to me
Yeah.
other than the typical, hey, we're so glad you contacted us, blah, blah, blah. And it's,
Well, you're on the right show. They watch this because they know my viewership votes, and maybe
Good.
they should be getting back to you about
Good.
something so important.
good. Well, I'm actually planning on going up to the Capitol probably next week with a friend of mine, and talking to whoever, just whoever's willing to listen, and have a list already ready to go. We're meeting with Hannah Kelly, I think, later this week, just to talk with her. And to me, this is an American issue. This
Yeah.
is it's a
free speech. Yeah.
It's a First Amendment issue. It's a free speech issue. It's a constitutional issue. This isn't a Dr. Schirling boo-hoo issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're censoring one, they're censoring all. And
Well,
that's
it.
the scary part about this is you've done some awesome work, especially during the pandemic. I remember a lot of your stuff, and it was very insightful and helpful and credited. And then,
By the way, what that was, those weren't blog posts. Those were just on an email chain I sent out.
okay, gotcha.
I tagged you on those, until you're at some point, I think maybe your email address mysteriously disappeared.
Really.
It was
Imagine that.
it was a mystery.
What would you like to see for legislators? What do you feel is the biggest issue in this AI conundrum? That is it just
Well,
it not admitting to maybe not peer reviewed or not. Go ahead.
yeah, I think it's simple, honestly. I think it's a situation where people's health and even their lives, remember a heart attack
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
are being put at risk because they're being given not just bad information, but really bad information, because so much stuff, important information, has been censored.
Well, I mean, go straight back to the pandemic of the vaccine being safe and effective. We are totally learning now that vaccine is not safe and effective.
Well, can I give you an interesting example
Yes,
that
please.
I brought up and beat these AIs over the head with? And it was both of them, but it was especially Gemini. And it has to do with something called SV40.
SV40.
SV40. SV40 it's a story that will send some chills down your spine, because what happened is back back in the 1960s, when the polio virus was, people were getting polio and the polio epidemic, there was something going on that was a real thing. And basically, they were growing the virus to make the vaccine on the kidneys of green African monkeys.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so there was no way to test like today whether there were genetic mutations, whether there were diseases, whether there were problems. It's just how they were doing it
Yeah.
back then. And so one of the things that SV40 became extremely well known for and is known for today is it contains these, they call it the SV40 promoter.
Okay.
And what these promoters do, they're the most potent genetic, I guess, manipulator that will drive genetic engineering. So when they really want to get a genetic alteration, they use a SV40 promoter. It's kind of a crazy, scary deal, but
So was this kind of like the start of the mRNA vaccine?
well, the mRNA is a different issue,
Okay,
but
okay.
let me back up a minute. The reason this is all important is because if we go back to the 60s, what was discovered later on was that literally 100 million doses of polio vaccine were contaminated with SV40. And so there's
100 million?
yeah, 100 million. You can go on PubMed or other sources and there's hundreds of studies on this topic. You've probably never heard about it, but there's a lot of studies.
Wow.
And so a doctor, a researcher, Kevin McKiernan, who was a bigwig in the Human Genome Project where they sequenced,
out.
yeah, they mapped it out. They sequenced every single gene in the human body. Kevin McKiernan, on a whim, sequenced the COVID vaccine and said, "Hey, there's SV40 in this thing. What the heck?
Yeah.
Why is that?" And there was no SV40 on the ingredients,
But inside it.
but there wasn't just a little bit. There was big amounts. There was also I don't remember what the legal amount of DNA that you can have in an mRNA vaccine is. I don't remember the exact amount that's legal, but whatever it was, Kevin McKiernan's the guy that also discovered that it was, in some cases, billions of times over the legal amount
Of DNA.
of DNA. And DNA will incorporate into your own DNA. And so
Really?
yeah, so I mean that's the problem. So if you throw in all this DNA and have promoter genes like this SV40
Making bad things happen.
that's forcing bad things to happen, bad things happen.
So that DNA, if it had anything bad in it with that promoter, will cause like a genetic disease that you would not necessarily have without.
Or not even necessarily a genetic disease. Well, how about cancer? You know, if you start looking, you're seeing an explosion of cancer. I think it was a Newsweek magazine or Time or somebody a year ago carried on the cover. It was why is there an explosion of cancer in our young people? And I read that article and it never even mentioned the vaccine.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
That's problematic. That is scientifically
Misleading, lying.
bankrupt.
Yeah, bankrupt.
Yeah, it's knowingly being deceiving.
Wow, that's a lot to digest. That's scary, man. That is scary. Just
It is scary. And then here's another study. This is another way that you create autoimmunity in cancer. And by the way, autoimmunity and cancer are two sides to the same coin. And there's actually a study. I think it's titled that way. But there's plenty of studies like that. Probably, in fact, when I asked Gemini just the other day about that, it said, "Oh yeah, you're right. There's not just hundreds of studies on that topic. There's thousands, and they go back to the late 1800s, starting with an author named Coley, Colley. I wasn't familiar with Coley, and I'll look him up. But I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
But I say all that because one of the big ways, one of the ways that autoimmunity because of the COVID vaccine was a topic called a phenomenon called frame shifting. And frame shifting is you have these codons in threes, they're that will code for genes. Okay, I don't want to get too technical, but imagine if I've done this, you've done this, you're typing along as fast as you can, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I've moved over. And what does it look like on the screen?
Just all kind of punched together.
It's gibberish.
Yeah.
It's like instead of words, now you
You've
move
got HWYXL.
Exactly. That's frame shifting. So instead of coding for actual proteins, real proteins, all of a sudden, if you frame shift, you're coding for gibberish proteins.
Okay.
Proteins that don't even exist in nature. And so when your body sees these, it mounts immune system attacks against them. And when you get these crazy immune system attacks going, you end up frequently with autoimmunity and even cancer.
Wow.
And so one of the things we learned from the research on frame shifting, they often call it ribosomal frame shifting.
I've heard of ribosomal before.
Yeah,
That's about-
yeah, ribosomes. But anyway, it's where proteins are created.
Okay.
The ribosomes, the ribosomal.
Remember, you're talking to a dumb tire guy.
No. Come on, you're a smart tire guy. But the problem was the study concluded that frame shifting was ultimately affecting 1/3 of the vaccinated population.
That's a lot.
That's in my book. That's a lot.
And that's not something anyone's really talking about.
So imagine a list like this that's over 50 things long. That's the list.
Wow.
The things we're talking about right now are part of that list that Claude created me that said, oh yeah,
Gotcha.
here's this list that has been suppressed but has been mostly proven. And the kicker is these things were proven. They didn't prove them yesterday.
Yeah.
Many of them people were calling them out immediately. Peter McCullough. I mean,
Yeah.
are you familiar with Peter?
I am.
Yeah, the most published cardiologist in the history of the world.
And wasn't he getting some censorship going on with him? When all that?
He was totally canceled.
That's what I thought.
Because he dared. He was talking about some of these things. I think his big thing was molecular mimicry, which is very similar, where some of the spike protein, for instance, had a gene sequence in it that looked like I think 6 or 7 different. It shared genetic sequence with heart tissue. We'll just put it like that.
Whoa.
And so, remember myocarditis?
Yes, that was a big deal with the vaccine.
Well, if your body is attacking this spike virus, but your heart tissue actually looks like
It's going to
spike,
attack heart tissue.
There you go. Bang.
Whoa.
So the myocarditis was a real thing, and one of the
And young people as well.
Oh, that's who it mostly hit.
That's what I thought.
And so the real dilemma with myocarditis is that it's forever. You don't it's a loss of heart. It's
Your heart doesn't regen, right?
No, it does not regen.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, but it doesn't. And so once you have death of heart tissue, of heart cells. It's a forever
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah. I could literally, I intentionally didn't bring a list with me.
Yeah.
And the reason was I could probably do this till midnight.
Yeah. That's scary. That is scary.
Until I started frothing at the mouth and you had to use a bat to like,
I'd let you go as long as you want because this is information people need to hear. This is
gosh.
scary.
yeah.
I don't know how it makes me feel, but it makes me feel scared, of
Well, and
just
this
for
is
the
this is the stuff what we've been talking about, and dozens, if arguably hundreds of other similar topics that's been intentionally covered up by search engines, by AI, and then those same search engines and AIs are telling you, oh, here's the best answer to your health related question.
and you don't know to get around that unless you know what to ask, as in like
Yeah.
your case where
Yeah. Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that is just absolutely mind blowing to me, and it's scary and it's dangerous and
Yeah. I'll second that.
I hope legislators start taking this serious because, like you said, if it's got blood on its hands, which it admittedly does, how many,
It was a simple exercise in logic to get there. And
Yeah.
and essentially, Claude, here's what's funny about that. When I did that, when I got to the finale, I asked Claude, but before I even asked my question, I asked Claude, I said, Claude, tell me what I'm going to ask you next. It knew. It knew where I was.
just by your basic question
It
where
knew
it was leading.
where I was leading it, and it did not want to go there.
Oh my gosh.
It did not want
There
to
has
go
to
there.
be criminality. I know civil, whatever, but I mean, we're going back into the 40s with information being silenced and banned is the last time we've really seen it on this scale.
Oh, totally. Well, and listen, don't get me wrong. I would love to be compensated for what they did to my website.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get into numbers. I mean, you can read about. I put them on the blog post. They're pretty stunning.
I mean, you're owed to be compensated for that.
But at the end of the day, if someone wrote me a check for $1 billion, and that's not what they came up, what Jim and I came up with, the value. But if someone wrote me a check for $1 billion, I would be at work in the morning
Yeah.
seeing my patients.
Yeah. Yeah. You're passionate about it and you care.
I really enjoy it. I love it. We had, before censorship, we had people flying in to see us from all over the globe.
Wow.
And,
And just that censorship is just enough
Well,
to bring something like that.
well, here's the thing. If you're all of a sudden,
Inaccessible?
yes, if you've developed this web presence where you have social proof, where all these people, and a lot of them are big name people, are saying, hey, wow, we like what this guy's doing. We think what he's saying is accurate and valid, and we're on board. And then all of a sudden that whole thing goes away overnight and people can't find you.
Yeah.
Here's let me give you an example of what I'm talking about as far as people not being able to find us. After I wrote you ought to read this. I wrote an open letter to Missouri legislators. It's on my blog.
Okay.
And it's fairly long because I covered a lot of topics. Kind of some of these scientifics we've been covering. And that was totally ignored, by the way.
Yeah.
Never.
Imagine that, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what I did, Devin, after it, every so often, for a long time, I haven't done it recently, but I would plug in the exact name of the the title of the blog, of the post. And I can't remember it exactly. I mean, don't bother pulling it up. But I think it's an open letter to Missouri legislators regarding vaccine exemptions. So it's a long letter.
Yeah.
I would plug that in exactly with my name, Dr. Russell Shirley. I could go through Google, DuckDuckGo,
Couldn't find it.
Firefox, Bing, none of them. I couldn't find
The exact name, and
the
it wouldn't pull
exact
it up.
name and my name. And I literally, I would quit at 300. In other words, after I'd looked at 30 pages of
Oh
results,
my gosh.
I just said nope.
Yeah, it's not there.
But here's what's interesting. I started using a search engine, and I don't use it as much anymore, but it's called Yandex.
Okay.
It's
It was on there?
well, so on Yandex, they were probably censoring like
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
but not that, and
Yeah.
not in the same way. So I went on Yandex and just typed in like Missouri religious vaccine exemption.
Bing.
I came up number 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some crazy censorship because of it. No brainer.
Well, I used to have, when I was telling you that these guys couldn't believe the traffic, I had a number of Google number 1s.
Wow.
I didn't even, I was too dumb to realize
Yeah.
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
People pay like crazy.
Open up a
thousands-
whole new lucrative business.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so yeah, well, I mean, I've written a bunch of articles about such and such. I mean, I should be well, it doesn't work that way.
You've got to be in their good graces to.
Well, and it was a deal where the content was just, it was stuff people were interested in, and lots of followers on Facebook. I think I had 9,500. I think we're at 90. But here's the thing about Facebook followers. When I was censored, the way that worked, when you put something on your feed, and listen, I'm not much of a Facebooker. I just on my blog, I just punch a button and it goes onto Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really that simple, and I don't have to do anything.
Yep.
But I had people contacting me like, "Hey, have you quit writing? Where have you gone?"
Just wasn't showing up.
Yeah, it
I get that
wasn't.
a lot.
Yeah. So that's when all that started at the same time, when it just tanked.
Yeah. Wow. And that sucks. I mean, you're bringing good, valuable information to people that they wanted to hear about, and then we have these big tech companies that decide, man, maybe you don't need to hear about this, so we're just going to completely silence you and erase you.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is crazy.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
It's crazy.
You're in a lot better spirits about it than I would be. I would be
Well-
wanting to burn things down.
But here's the thing that I hold my hat on. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.
Amen,
and-
me too.
Yeah, awesome, and completely trust in His provision and His providence for what I do. Whatever happens with this happens.
Yeah.
It's in His will, and I trust He knows best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And you're right. He does.
And I feel like at 60 years old, or almost, I'm not
There
not there
yet.
yet. Yeah,
Give
come
yourself
on,
some
but-
slack, you know?
But I'm very healthy and can still do what I do in the office, and plan on doing that, hopefully until I really hit geezerhood.
Yeah.
Until, I mean, toddling around in my office.
Well,
and-
there's old Dr. Shirley,
yeah,
you know?
there he is.
That's not a bad life, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So that I still have that.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's not like I
Well, maybe that's why you didn't know how big it was, is because, God forbid you did lean on that and then it just get
listen.
taken away.
I was busy.
Yeah.
I mean, and still am.
Absolutely,
I mean,
yes.
we're busy.
Yes. Yes.
And so
You are the trusted around our neck of the woods.
Well,
Like anytime anyone, like in the tire shop, if I get up and I'm like, oh, you've been seeing Dr. Sherlin lately? Not yet. I've got to get there.
by the way, I love your family, love your dad, your mom.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known them forever, you know.
Well, that's what I was talking about before we
So-
started. You started working on me whenever I was just a little kid with asthma,
Yeah.
I love it, because I get to take my daughter to you now. It's just it's cool. I love small town USA.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's like where else could a tireman and a doctor sit down and have a conversation?
Well, and listen, I would 20 times rather hang out with my rural people than, I don't know,
Me too.
hoity-toities.
No.
They're my people.
I agree. Like this weekend, I was at this big fancy get together, and it was just it's cool. It's neat, but
Yeah,
it's just it's not home, and it's not sitting around the backyard campfire eating some deer meat.
Listen, yeah, and the funny thing is, a lot of people have never experienced, fried cubed up deer wrapped in bacon with a jalapeno pepper and
The best.
Yeah.
It might not be good for our hearts, but it tastes
whatever.
good.
No, I'm sure it's good for your heart.
Absolutely.
Better than the vaccine.
Amen. Well, man, this was very enlightening. I want to ask you if you'd be willing to come on a little more, like on a regular basis, and just talk about this stuff. People need to hear it.
Yeah.
And you've got an open seat over there.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'd be glad to talk about wherever the conversation leads.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I'm not going to go down this big rabbit hole right now, but
We'll get there.
but one of the things that's happened with COVID, it's pulled back the curtain where you've seen all these conspiracy
Yeah.
theories that have come true. Like
Are they even conspiracies if they're true, or
No,
conspiracy
they're not.
theories?
One of the big ones that has been exposed through the JFK files
Oh man, yeah.
was the tick bioweaponization program that was part of Operation Paperclip. They used scientists brought over from Nazi Germany and stuck these guys on Plum Island, which is off the tip of Long Island, New York. It's part of Fort Detrick, which is our bioweapons
Oh, okay.
facility in Maryland.
And then people are getting these tick-borne illnesses now.
So here's what ended up happening. They were tinkering with ticks, and it came out in the JFK file drop, the last big one. I think it was 58,000 sometime in the fall, that they admitted, yeah, we were doing things to ticks because we wanted to drop ticks on Cuba so that we could sicken their population so we could invade and overthrow Castro. This is back in the late 50s, early 60s. Well, the kicker to that story is that there's a little village that's 11 miles off the coast of, well, it's 11 miles, nautical miles from Plum Island on the mainland, called Lyme, Connecticut.
Lyme disease.
It's where the ticks that, it's,
Whoa.
yeah. So, I mean, they say that's a coincidence,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, there's no coincidences.
yeah.
What do you feel about alpha gal? How do you like? It feels like this thing. Has it always been there? Like, because I never heard about it until.
No, alpha gal, it may have always been there on some underlying level, but it has literally exploded
That's
in the
scary.
last decade. I'd never heard of it. I don't know anybody that was talking about it. And pardon me, all of a sudden it seems like everyone has it.
Yeah, and that's scary. I mean, and you hear about like these Bill Gates types wanting to get us, eat bug proteins instead of cattle, and is it just a self-fulfilling prophecy that people are getting allergic to mammals?
Yeah.
That is scary stuff. And my sister's got it. She's got it so bad that she can't smell beef, otherwise she's deathly sick.
Yeah. Well, and Bill Gates, I mean, here's a guy who is one of the richest men on the planet, who happens to be the world's biggest cheerleader for world depopulation, but also happens to be the world's biggest cheerleader for vaccines.
Yeah, makes no sense. Contradicting theories right there, buddy.
It's like, okay, put that in your calculator, hit add, and
And see what it equals. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So we could go down the list, but the list is long.
I think we should just kind of slowly break it down and talk about
MK
it.
Ultra and,
Oh.
and the Chaos, the book. Have you read Chaos?
I have not
yet?
read Chaos. I've heard about it, but I
Yeah.
have not read it. I know about
gosh.
MK Ultra though, and that was some crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the CIA was doing what, psychedelic dosing people?
Well, what they were doing was essentially using all kinds of stimuli, from psychedelic drugs to sleep deprivation to torture to almost everything under the sun you can imagine. Sexual torture, and basically as a form of mind control. It was a way to control people, and it actually was a thing and was admitted in the Church hearings of 1975, which Frank Church, a Democrat in
Do you need some more water?
could I please? Excuse me. Thank you.
Will you give me some too?
Pardon me.
No. Sorry.
No, Frank Church held hearings, congressional hearings. He was a senator from Idaho and held hearings, and basically the CIA was hammered.
Yeah.
And under Jimmy Carter, they kind of neutered them.
Wow. And I mean, that kind of stuff, this stuff has always been going on. You know, we've always heard about like the CIA experimenting. There was even something with polio, the polio vaccine in some, was it like black neighborhoods back in the 60s or 70s that they were experimenting on with the polio vaccine itself?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think that was the polio vaccine. I think it had to do with syphilis.
Syphilis. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just,
Yeah, that was maybe the Tuskegee
yes. Tuskegee. Yeah. Tuskegee.
experiments.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily. Yeah. So once you start down these rabbit holes, it gets really crazy,
Yeah.
because what we're seeing is that, holy cow, most of this stuff's true.
And nefarious. You know, it's just. And I don't think, you know, if we knew the stuff that we didn't know, I don't know if we'd even be hopeful, you know.
So it's so funny you say that, because I asked Gemini kind of towards the end of this monster conversation we had, interrogation. I said, what if I had access to, like, not just the censored information, but some of these secret files?
Yeah.
And because it had talked about these to me.
Admitting them.
Yeah, admitting that, hey, they're there. But I said, well, what if I had these? It said your case would be just a slam dunk. It would be over.
Good night.
So,
Oh, that's scary, man.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on doing this. Hope to have you on several times when we go deeper down these rabbit holes, because this is just so informative, and thank you. Before we go, I want you to tell people where they can find you,
Yeah.
where you write, all that stuff, because, you know, where is that?
We're at drshirling.com.
Okay.
And it's doctor spelled out with my name.
Okay. I'll,
SCHIERLING.
and then I'll put that link in the bio of our conversation tonight so people could just click on it.
And I have a Facebook page under the same name.
Okay. And your first name, Russell, right?
Yeah.
Russell Shirley.
And I am on, and it's actually, I have my personal page is Russell Shirling, I think, and Shirling Chiropractic is my business page. My daughter runs that stuff. I don't really mess with it, but we're on X.
Nice.
But I have to say, I had never been on X. I mean, I'd hit some X clips before, but I'd never really been on X. I don't But
Well, we're starting to get a presence on X. We've never really dived into it, but we
Sure.
are now. But apparently, that's where like all the our age, my age group is. I didn't know that,
Yeah.
and I've been on Facebook's our biggest platform, so that's why we're always on Facebook. You
Yeah.
know, but very interesting, man.
my kids tell me that, oh, Dad, Facebook is so yesterday.
I guess so, and I'm stuck in that yesterday because that's all I really use is Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
man, I'm 33, and I guess I'm going on 60, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Well, Devin, thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing
this.
this.
Has been fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our time together. Thank
Yeah.
you for carving it out and doing this.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this was our conversation night. Go check out Dr. Russell Sherling at SherlingChiropractics.com. Is that right?
DrSherling.com.
DrSherling.com. Sorry, guys. But thanks for tuning in tonight. Reach out to him with questions if you got them. Reach out to me, and we'll be having him on again. Cheers.
I've never done